On January 8th, 2025, I lost everything. My entire house burned down in the Palisades fire. I lost my home, I lost all my belongings, and at the time of this recording, I'm still homeless. I don't know where I'm going to live, and I'm still trying to figure it out. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you about my story, what it's been like so far, and what you need to know if you're in a situation where you lose everything. Hopefully, trying to stay faithful and believe that it isn't all for nothing. So for those of you that don't know me, my name's Jordan Ross. I run 8 Figure Agency. We're a growth consultancy. We've helped thousands of agencies grow and scale. We offer many different services, and I am now a homeless founder, which is freaking nuts. It is so crazy. At the time of me recording this, I'm recording this 16 days after my evacuation from the Pacific Palisades, and I'm going to tell you my story. I'm going to tell you the prequel of what led up to the fire, what it was like evacuating, what happened in the days after, what's happening now with the rental Hunger Games, as we're calling it in the Palisades, and what you need to know to prepare. So let's start with the day of the fire. We knew that winds were going to be hurricane-like winds. We were already informed the day before, January 7th, that winds were going to be 50 to 100 miles per hour. And the evening before, my wife and I spoke about, what if the tree falls in front of our house? Like, are we prepared? Are we safe? And the up and crazy thing is that we never considered that we could lose our home. Like, if there's a fire, this is gonna be crazy. It wasn't even a thought. And when I woke up that morning, it was a normal morning, like any morning, except it was better. It was actually amazing. I went to the gym. I was working out at Equinox, which was a new gym in the Pacific Palisades. I had an awesome view of the Pacific Ocean. I had a great workout. I met a few entrepreneurs that lived in my town. One guy was running a family office, which, if you don't know, a family office is, you only start a family office if you're already very wealthy and successful. So I got to meet this guy, Cam, runs a family office, and cold plunge. I did 2 sessions, probably about 2 minutes each, which we're going to come back to, was critical for me. And then I went home. I had a meeting at 9:30 with my partner Ben, and at like 9:45, that's when it started to go down. My wife texted me, "Do you smell smoke?" No, I don't. I'm having a call with Ben. What's going on? She's like, "I smell smoke." I'm going to text our neighbor, Kaylin. Taylor, my wife, texts Kaylin, and Kaylin lets us know there's a fire. It's 20 acres, and it's in the Pacific Palisades. So at like 9:50, I now know there's a fire. It's 20 acres. And she tells me, it's California. There are fires. Like, no big deal. It's only 20 acres. Who cares? At 10:10, give or take, 20 minutes later, I'm on another call, and Taylor says, "Jordan, the fire is now 200 acres. You need to get out, and I need your help." So at this point, it's 10:10, big fire, but like, godly, we have an 8-month-old baby. We gotta get out. And I start packing. When you're starting to pack, because there's a fire, you're just thinking about like, okay, what clothes do I need? Get the suitcases. I run and get the suitcases in there. But at 10:15 a.m., there was a mass text to everyone in the Pacific Palisades, which is 10,000 homes. You need to evacuate now. There was no prior warning, and the reason was within 20 minutes, a 20-acre fire grew to 200 acres. It was enormous, and it was right in town. And that's when panic starts to set in. Holy crap, we gotta get out. We have a baby. I need to keep my family safe. At that point, logic just goes out the window, and it's all adrenaline. So I'm focusing on getting my baby's clothes, getting like everything he needs for a couple days, getting my clothes, underwear, socks. I only packed 1 pair of underwear. I only packed 1 pair of socks, so go figure. Then I grabbed my laptop, and I grabbed a few miscellaneous things, and we packed the car. And before we left, my wife called our neighbor, Kaylin, and she said, "Hey, like, are you guys okay?" And she's bawling her eyes out. And the reason she's bawling her eyes out, she doesn't work in the Pacific Palisades, and she has a 6 or 7-month-old baby who's at home, and the fire is growing. And when this is happening, I'm looking at the car, and then I notice the Ring camera catches the moment. The fire is right there. Like, I see a massive cloud of smoke outside our home, which means like right up the hill, the fire's like right there. We're so close to it, which is terrifying. And I run over to my neighbor's house, and I have to make sure the nanny is loading the baby into the car. They get out safe. We load the car. And even at this point, even though the fire was right near my home, it was freaking huge. I was just focused on evacuating. At no point did I think, we're gonna lose everything. I never thought my home was at risk. You don't think that, you're not mentally prepared to ever think you're gonna lose your home, lose everything you own in a fire. And to emphasize that, I saw my neighbor Tim on the way out. I ran over, I checked in "Are you okay? Do you need help? Is your family okay?" He told me they were loading the car. He's like, "Dude, it's crazy." Up on Lockman, which, if you know the Pacific Palisades, Lockman, or if you don't, Lockman is the road that goes all the way up to the top of the mountain. There's only one street that goes all the way up to the top of the mountain in the Palisades. He's like, "There's homes on fire in Lockman." That should have been my notification, but neither Tim nor I thought we were at risk. So we get out. We go on Sunset Boulevard, which is the largest street in town, and it's like one of the only 3 roads to get out of town. We get on Sunset and I make a right, and within like 5 seconds there's a line of cars, and I look at the cars and I look up and the fire is just over. I could see the smoke massively at the cars. And based on where we live, the fact that there was a line up by me, we live somewhat up the mountain, the Palisades where we lived. If there was a line all the way up there, I knew we're not going to get out for like an hour or two, because in rush hour traffic, it would take 30 minutes at times. And this is an evacuation level traffic. So I pull a U-turn, I go the other way, I go to the other side of Sunset. And my heart rate is freaking out. My wife's like, that's not safe. What are you doing? We need to get out. We need to get out. And I drive 30 seconds and the line to evacuate is at a standstill. But I don't live anywhere near where the exit is. So the fact that both sides of town, I can't leave, panic starts to set in, like sheer terror. Because when I look to my left, I could see the fire and it is growing. The winds are crazy. And now I'm in the front seat. I'm the man in my home. My wife's freaking out. Baby, my dog are packed in the car. The car's packed to the brim with suitcases. And I don't know what the I'm doing. My wife's freaking out. And she says to me, how do we get out? Jordan, how do we get out? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're stuck here. We need to leave. We need to leave. And I tell her, you need to calm down. I will not let anything happen to us. But in the back of my head, I'm like, I don't know how the we're going to get out. There's only 3 streets in town. There's only 3 streets. And in those moments of like desperation, like if you're, she's freaking out, so I got to keep my composure, but I'm freaking out mentally because I'm looking at the fire. I'm looking at my baby and my mind starts to run. Okay, if the fire gets really close, I could strap my baby. We could run, but like, he's going to be exposed to the fire. That's going to be horrible. There's no good solution. And just like in a moment of intuition, I call one of our neighbors down the street, Jackson. I say, hey dude, like what's going on? We're stuck on Sunset. Like, where are you at? And he was already out of town. He was in Brentwood. He was at a friend's. And bless Jackson, because he told me that Balboa Bay Club, which is located on the PCH, has a back entrance that's not noted anywhere. And I was right there. He said, go to Balboa, get out, you'll be safe. We turn around, do another UE on Sunset, which by the way, we are stacked in cars. Cars aren't moving. So I turn a UE, I get to Balboa through the back entrance, and slowly we're able to leave. But now we're done freaking out. I call all my neighbors. I call Tim, I call Lorraine, I call Kaylin and Cody, and I make sure everyone knows you've got to get to this back entrance. And at this point, we're safe. Like the moment of holy my life is flashing before my eyes, I need to keep my family safe, is gone. But now that's, where do we go? I hop on the PCH and I hop on the 405 and I just start driving. And a friend, Marketing Max, told me, go to Newport. It's really nice. Take a few days off. You'll be safe. You'll be fine. So we arrive at Newport in Airbnb and we're like, you know what? It's not a big deal and we'll be here. But as we're traveling and as we arrive, just get updates about the fire. It's bigger and homes are catching on fire. And by the time evening rolls around, there's already 2 homes on my street. I used to live on Livorno. It's a loop with about 40-50 homes. By the time I go to bed, the fire map shows that 2 homes on Livorno are already on fire. 2 of my neighbors, 2 people I know, their homes are on fire. Their home's gone. I just start asking people to pray for me. Hey man, pray for me, pray for my home. And what's crazy is I bought in December, less than 30 days before this fire, I bought a $2,000 painting, which is very unlikely. I don't buy nice. Very simple dude. I buy a $2,000 painting that says manifest. And I was like, okay, it's $2,000, but like I got to lean into what this painting says. I gotta manifest my own abundance. I said, you know what? Like I start texting people this photo, this painting. Hey, this painting is going to protect my home. I'm gonna be fine. And the fire map showed that it wasn't growing. But when we wake up the next morning, my town was gone. The news was just showing how homes and homes and homes and communities are on fire. The village of the Palisades is destroyed. And by 9 a.m., we got a notification from ADT. We got the automated call. Our fire alarm was on and our burglar alarm was off, which meant my house was on fire and the windows have shattered. And then reality really kicks in, because at this point, I'm now homeless and I don't have a plan. I don't own anything. We stopped off at Target on the way down to Newport, but I didn't pack appropriately. My wife didn't bring anything. We don't have any of our belongings besides a few clothes and my laptop, thank God, the one thing that could actually make me money. And now we're homeless, and what the frick do we do with ourselves? The only thing to do is, okay, we need to take the next steps. I look up my insurance policy. Holy crap, it sucked. My home, there's easily over 6 figures worth of stuff. If you think about all the things you accrue and buy over 5, 10, 15 years, think about all the jewelry and clothes women wear. Babies, for a baby shower, we got $20,000, $30,000 worth of stuff gifted to us. Then we have the furnishings, stuff in the kitchen, living room, dining room, my office. We lost everything. Man, this $20,000 policy is not going to cover. So check your policy. I think we're paying $12 a month. We should have paid more. At that point, we need to figure out a plan. So we extend our Airbnb. We arrived on Tuesday. It was from Tuesday to Friday. We extend an extra 4 days. So we had an Airbnb for a week. And we waited like a couple days to figure out what we were doing. But when we were in Newport, it was just trying to figure out how to, like, is the business okay? It was. I took off. My COO told me he had it. And we started looking for places to live. But here's the crazy thing. When 10,000 people, the Palisades, all evacuate, houses were leaving and going off the market like that. It dropped like flies. And out of nowhere, we now don't have a home to live after our Airbnb, which was super stressful. So my existence for a week became, where do I live next? Not focusing about business. I'm focusing about my son, making sure he's happy and he's healthy. And where do we move next? And a quick shout out to Babyquip, BABYQUIP. They're not sponsors of this, of course. We're able to rent baby equipment when we don't have anything. We have like a stroller, toys, little play set, crib, and local people rent out their equipment. So that's amazing business. So at this point, we search for a week. We can't find anything that's like reasonably in budget because we can't spend a lot because we just lost everything. And finally, after a week of looking, us freaking out, we're about to be out of our Airbnb. Allstate Insurance calls me and lets me know that for the first 2 weeks, I have full coverage. We're going to pay for anything, any temporary lodging, you're good. Awfully convenient of you, Allstate, to wait a full week to tell me that. So a full week goes by. We're now the 14th of January. I finally find a place because Allstate told me they would cover me for the first 2 weeks fully, and then anything north of my rent, they'll cover the difference within reason. So we got a place in Laguna, beautiful home. We would have never, this was not in budget, but because Allstate came through, we were able to get it. So we move our stuff, and now we're in that weird phase of, we have a short-term rental on Airbnb until the end of February. We have 6 weeks to figure out where we move next. And the initial plan was, we're gonna go back to LA, we're gonna look in Brentwood, which is the neighboring town, and we're gonna go back. Wrong, because on the 21st or 22nd of January, another fire happened. So we had the Palisades fire, we had the Eden fire, and there's another fire. So there is so much smoke and debris and toxicity in LA, we don't think it's safe to take a baby there. So we're not even sure we're gonna live. So we've been looking for rentals to, like, we'll rent it for a month and we'll come back. We are now in what's called the rental Hunger Games. I'm in a group of over 500 people in the Palisades, and this is where I got it. Everyone is out. Everyone doesn't have a place to live. So a place pops on the market, and within, a couple hours, I saw a place on Zillow for rent. Within 3 hours, the home had 45 viewings and 11 applications. So every application, every place we go to rent now to find a place to live for a year, we're competing against dozens of families that are wealthier, have kids that are older, so they need to be in the school district. And that's my life right now. I haven't really worked. I don't know where I'm gonna live. And the most important thing, I don't know where I'm gonna be living, but I need to stay positive. So people ask me, they get on a call and they say, how are you? And man, that's a loaded question because I'm a person of faith. My faith is more agnostic, but I still have a deep faith of my spirituality and God. And I believe like an event like this, there's a silver lining here. I can't see it yet. That's going to happen, but I'm a lot more positive than I thought I would be if I lost my entire life. And part of that's because I feel like I have to be. And the other part, I just have faith that, there's a reason. I'm meditating a lot. I'm working out every day. I'm going to cold plunge. So I'm really focusing on my mental health. And if you go through devastation, you need to find a why. If you don't have faith, you need to find faith. And if you don't have a routine, you need a routine. I built my business to work without me. And, that's been my calling card for years. But in this moment, I can't work. I was on the phone with American Express. I was on the phone with Allstate today. I'm like doing hours of today. I physically can't work because I got far too much to do. If you don't prepare your business to work without you, if you ever have a moment like I'm having now, you're so screwed. You need to prepare your business to work without you. You need to get out of appointment setting, sales, customer success, fulfillment, account management, operations management. You need to get out of everything. So if you've been following my this is my very honest call to action. It is time to take it seriously, to work with ADAF, or to do it yourself. Follow my content. You need to wake the F up, people. Devastation happens, and shit's gonna happen too. You're gonna have a moment in the next 5 years, 100%, where you can't work. You're sick, someone else is sick, something personal, you don't want to do it. Like, you will have the moment. If your business isn't ready, your business will be stressful. My business has not been stressful. Thank God. Thank me, honestly. And if you're not an entrepreneur and you're just a W-2, you need to have an emergency fund. So we have a lot of cash on hand. We're trying to buy a home, so we have like cash in like high yield savings. But we have probably 2 years worth of funds. If like everything went away tomorrow, I have like 24 months where I could live. And if I moved to a more modest place, a lot longer. You need to create sweeps. So in your bank account, you need to have an automated sweep to a savings account that's a high yield savings account of 4 to 5%. And you need to build that, because I could tell you, if you have a moment like this one, you do not want to be caught with your pants around your ankles. And for people that ask me, like, what is it like to lose everything? Man, this doesn't feel real. You wake up in someone else's home, you don't own anything. You know, when you go to the kitchen and you're making, let's just say, a sandwich, you go to open the fridge for your favorite condiment. That condiment, it's not there. You're in someone else's home. Or you go to get dressed, but you have no clothes, or the clothes you have are donated. Or shout out to Cuts. Cuts gave me like a bunch of clothes and helped me restock my wardrobe. I open my drawers, I'm like, I don't even know what I own right now. It doesn't feel real. I think the most important thing for like my hope of just telling my story for you is, I hope in adversity you are able to see the silver lining. This doesn't happen by accident. Something of this big of a nature. Our karmic experiences are so intertwined. And if you're a father, your family needs you in moments of tragedy. You have to be strong. So if you don't have a routine to mentally be prepared, I was mentally prepared for this because I have a belief of faith. I have a routine where I work out, I meditate, I work on myself. And the moment of evacuation, the day of evacuation, my wife was freaking out. I was mentally freaking out, but I sustained and held strong because I had worked out that morning and I had gone to the cold plunge. And if you're someone who watches this or listens to this and you want to now prepare better for fire, here's my tips. You don't want to miss it. Number one, check your renter's plan or your homeowner's plan. If you live in a region where disaster can happen, make sure you're covered. Make sure it's good and pay more. It's worth it. Number two, make sure you have your car packed with things in case of an evacuation or an emergency. And also make sure, in case of a fire in your home, you should have like a safety deposit box or some form of box that's fireproof and goes in your chimney. If you drive through my town, all you're gonna see is chimneys. Your chimney won't burn down. People are looting my town, but your chimney won't burn down. So if I had a box to put into my chimney and then maybe like a plate that's also fireproof, I would say, Taylor, throw all your valuables in that box. Let's get out of here. And that's my story. That's my overview. My story's still being written. I'm still very much in the depths of this experience, and it's not fun. People keep complimenting my positive attitude, which, thank you. I'm very grateful for that, but it's hard. The spiritual side of me knows this happens for a reason, and the human side of me is just dealing with emotions every day. So thank you for watching. I hope you subscribe and share this with someone if they've gone through some tragedy. It will be okay. I keep telling myself it'll be okay. So maybe I'll talk to you in a few years when it really is okay, and hang in there. Even if you build a beautiful life like I did, I had everything. You could always build it again. Thanks.